You're watching The World According to Dwyan.
3, 2, 1, light her up!
The Rockefeller tree is lit again, towering, jeweled, and defiant in the dark. A reminder that light is both decoration and declaration. But beneath the bright canopy, America is shivering from cold streets to colder policies. And tonight, we trace where warmth falters and where people refuse to let it die. Netflix faces backlash over Sean Combs' The Reckoning. Power hates mirrors. Rihanna's Anti just marked a record 500 weeks on the Billboard 200. Longevity becoming its own quiet rebellion. Usher and Big Sean are investing in Detroit youth. The Florida Lottery showcases its scholarship legacy. Dollars that started as wagers but ended as degrees. December brings World AIDS Day. For some, it's commemorative. For others, it's proof that the struggle didn't end just because the headlines did. In the American South, HIV remains relentless. Black women account for half of new diagnoses, while composing a fraction of the population.
I would be lying to you if I didn't acknowledge that the United States had been one of the one country funding the largest amount of resources. They were also contributing a third of the resources going to the Global Fund. So that the pause or the cancellation of that aid has played an important role. But we have seen that reduction in other donors as well. In countries impacted, most of them will be in the African continent. That's where we still see an important number of new infections.
The geography of illness mirrors the geography of neglect. In the Caribbean, the numbers tell their own alarm. Up to 600,000 people living with HIV, a prevalence second only to Africa. Storms, poverty, gender-based violence, the groundwork for a virus to thrive where systems don't. Advocates like Bianca Carolina transform stigma into testimony. She says, HIV is no longer a death sentence, but silence can be. Researchers hint at breakthroughs, approaches that may hold the virus at bay, even without daily medication. At airports, travelers without real IDs now face extra scrutiny and fees. Bureaucracy as barrier.
February 1st, passengers without a real ID or viable form of identification would have to pay a $45 fee to use an alternative identification system.
Homeland Security eyes driver databases as identity turns into inventory. Across the ocean, Sudan unravels, millions displaced, families scattered, children learning the shape of fear before numbers or letters. Borders open then slam shut. Aid stalls. The world scrolls past.
The situation here in Sudan has remained fairly hidden from the public view. We're seeing this is the largest displacement crisis in the world. We've had more than 10 million people who've been displaced from their homes. Some have been displaced time and time again, yet it just doesn't receive the kind of attention that it deserves, given what's happening.
Refugee camps become ledgers, lives counted, futures devalued. A woman escaping Khartoum said, "We survived the bullets. Now we must survive the waiting."
Our assessments show that everyone is hungry in El Fasher, and 1 in 4 people face extreme hunger. WFP has warned that many families trapped in El Fasher are on the brink of starvation.
This war is not just territorial. It is existential, a fight against erasure. Conflict doesn't just kill, it silences. and silence is a form of war. Elsewhere, culture and policy keep shifting. Music milestones, economic strain, and questions about who gets space to rise and who gets pushed back into the shadow.
Legal status of 350,000 Haitian migrants will expire in February. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying despite the widespread gang violence there, extending TPS policy would be at odds with U.S. interests. The Trump administration giving a February 3rd deadline to leave the U.S. or be detained or forcibly removed.
And I think we have to be very clear on the fact that this isn't just an abstract policy decision. This is actually a direct threat to people's lives. People who have done everything that this country has asked of them.
For Haitian families in America, the season feels less like a holiday and more like a countdown. Temporary protections expire. Letters arrive. Children ask if they will disappear from their classrooms. Parents rehearse conversations they fear delivering. Haiti spirals, violence, political vacuum, economic collapse. Policy debates frame this as order. Families know it as displacement. A community elder said, "We planted roots where we could. Now they want to pull the ground away." This is where the temperature drops, not in degrees, but in mercy. H. Rap Brown has passed, a voice who once declared, "Violence is as American as cherry pie." He knew struggle comes to us, but resistance is how we send it back.
I think the vote can only be used as a tool of organization. We can only use the vote to organize our people. Now, to really believe that we can put someone in office and that these people would be responsive to our needs, it's naive, politically naive. Because even if one of the black candidates who ran for office were to take the office of president, then black people must be prepared to fight against that person. Why? Because, you see, the system mandates the action of the individual. The individual does not determine how this country will function. This country works off the military-industrial complex, which means that it's profitable to wage war. And unless you devise another plan, another scheme to sustain, to boost this economy, then it's going to be necessary to wage war. Whether, a black individual is in office or a white individual is in office. Well, we're talking about a complete, a change in system.
So as lights shimmer above policy and hardship, the softest glow tonight may be his reminder. The struggle is eternal, which means the people are too.